Hello there, Eagles fans, and welcome back to our Eagles Therapy Podcast. I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
And we are recording Monday, January 6th, 2024. Yesterday.
25.
Oh my gosh, 2025. Yes, thank you very much. Yesterday, obviously, being the day that the Eagles won Week 18, their last game of the season against the New York Giants. How you feeling, Dad?
Feeling pretty good. It was a great game to watch. It was interesting because I didn't think it was going to be. And it ended up being a real good watching game.
Yeah.
Tanner McKee played out his mind. It was great to see. I was surprised that we threw the ball so many times.
Yeah, I do agree with you.
I was blown away, and I was glad because it really ended the season on a great note.
On a high note, you're right. I do agree with you. Better game than I really ever expected. 20-13 defeat over the New York Giants. Obviously, playing mostly all of our backups, and then the Giants really playing their starters, but their starters are basically equivalent to backups. So you know how it is. But overall a pretty good weekend of football. We got to see Dallas lose the last game of the season to Washington. We got to see the Packers, our opponents, into the wild card, lose against the Bears in a heartbreaker.
Big time.
It's just a kind of a really good weekend of football, I think, for the Eagles, at least I should say. Let's go ahead and jump into it. But as always, we want to give a shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles Fan Club of Colorado Springs. That's the page on Facebook. You can go join it. Hope to see you at the first game at Rhino Sports and Spirits for the Eagles Packers game this weekend, coming up at 2:30 our time here. All right. So obviously that Eagles beat the Giants 20-13, mostly sitting all of our starters. A couple guys here and there. Jordan Davis got to play, and I thought he actually had a really good game.
He did.
Kenny Gainwell, not really a starter, I'd say, but still in. Tyler Steen was in, not a starter again.
Oren Burks, man.
Oren Burks really got a big chance to show himself. And then who would be Dallas Goedert, of course, got to play the start just for the first half. I thought he had a good game as well, 4 catches for 55 yards. Let's get into the good. So good, really, there's really a not bad, so it's kind of all good. Number one, Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee going forward, it's difficult to say because, is Kenny Pickett under contract next year?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I actually I don't know why. I can't remember.
I think they were talking about it on one of the other pods I got, but I don't know because if he is, I don't know. I think
he
Tanner's
is under
guy.
I think he is under contract, so it's difficult because you're like, well, you don't want to cut him.
Maybe trade him.
Yeah, if you can. I mean, that's the big
6.
thing because it just feels like at this point right now, it feels like Tanner McKee should be the quarterback 2 going forward.
No doubt.
He might one day be a quarterback 1 somewhere for a little bit of time. Not saying he'll be a starter, but I think he can play.
No knock on Pickett. He
got not at all
in our games, and he played great in both games that he played in. He just I think we got a kid on a rookie contract here with McKee. We drafted him, so we got him for another 3 years.
2 years. Yep, 2 years. No, true, and it's difficult because he played really well, and Kenny Pickett hasn't really done anything to lose his job, but it's just Tanner's been waiting in the wings for a bit that you just feel like, man, I think it's time that he kind of gets that spot at QB2, and hopefully we don't have to see him play. That's the truth of it, the quarterback 2 spot. But man, I'm kind of okay with it.
Well, mop up duty in games, maybe a little injury type thing where it's not a full game injury where he has to come out for a few drives. You wouldn't really be panicked, we were in years past. I think you'd be like, man, this guy's got it. So it's good to go.
Very true. All right, next good I have Anais Smith. Anais Smith got his first career touchdown. Let's see, a total of 4 catches, 35 yards, a touchdown, 1 rush for 4 yards. Just kind of a fun thing there. But it was good to see him get his first career touchdown. He had a kind of tough season. Didn't really get on the field much. He kind of got beat by Johnny Wilson onto the field. I know. It was nice to see him kind of have that chance to make up for what he's lost this season.
Right, no, for sure.
Next good I have another backup receiver who's had a very disappointing season. I got Jahan Dotson. Jahan Dotson, 7 catches, 94 yards. Dad, what'd you think of him?
Wow, he was just catching everything thrown his way. He was wide open half the time. Unbelievable. You and I were like, where's he been the whole season?
Yeah.
So, it was good to see. So at least we know if it did come to crunch time, we could count on him. But, unless Hurts just wasn't looking at him the whole season. But, man, I'll tell you what, he was catching some balls and getting on the run. And, he was just really fantastic. He was on the sidelines there, getting the feet in. Yeah. Incredible.
Well, we always talk about the biggest thing with Jalen is, he wants to trust his wide receivers or his tight ends, receivers, running backs, whatever. This game, if it did anything, I hope it showed him, okay, it's time to trust him. Yeah, and I'm not saying, I'm not saying he gets AJ or Devontae targets with 10 a game. No, but 3, 4, 2, 3, 5 a game. You know,
At least look his way.
I mean, he's got an ability to do it. He can make guys miss after the catch. I thought he had a pretty good run after the catch a couple times, and he can get open. He's got speed. You know, it's a well-rounded player. He's had a really tough season. It's been disappointing, but I hope this is a game that Hurts can learn.
Hopefully, he's a guy we've got under contract for another season. You know,
I think he is.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'm pretty sure he is. Maybe that's who I was thinking. I don't because Kenny Pickett. I don't remember, but I think Jahan Dotson is under contract next season.
I mean, he just looked great in that game. He looked poised. He looked confident, and he was catching everything thrown his way, and he was getting wide open. I mean, you know, we weren't playing the best team in the league, but still, you know, these guys can cover. So I mean, he looked great.
The next thing I had was Johnny Wilson. Johnny Wilson, 3 catches, 24 yards. And again, none of these guys had unbelievable numbers. I mean, Dotson, 7 for 94 is good. But Smith and Wilson, 4 for 35 and a touchdown, 3 for 24. It's not, crazy or eye-opening or wow. But no, it's more than I want. It's more than I wanted. Like, what I wanted in this game, I said it on the previous pod. I was saying, this is a game where we need to see a number 3 guy play well. Like, they're going to be the number 1s, number 2s. They're going to have chances. I need to see one of them do something. Yeah. And they all did a little bit. I know Dotson had the best game. But still, Anaya Smith and Johnny Wilson, even though they didn't have incredible stats, I mean, Johnny Wilson getting 3 catches, to me, that's great. Is that more than he's had all season? I don't even know.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean,
he only had a few come his way.
I mean, I know. Yeah, so he had 3 catches all season, 1 for a touchdown, and then he had 3 catches in the game. So the same amount of catches that he had all season in yesterday's game.
One of the other good things is the offensive line did not give up a sack. And last time we played the Giants, if you remember, I think they had 4 or 5 sacks in the first quarter.
So this is saying that Tanner McKee got sacked twice. So I don't know if you don't.
No,
you're
right. You're right.
But he got sacked. He got sacked twice. So.
But I know there was a long.
Still, though, I could have been.
It must have been later in the game because early on,
that's true.
I remember them saying that nobody's got any sacks. It might have been even through at halftime.
Yeah.
But last time they were sacking us like crazy, and it was few and far between.
Yep. My next positive and good is Will Shipley. I was very happy to see him get some playing time, 10 carries, only 32 yards, but four catches for 35 yards. He's a weapon.
Oh, wow.
And this is a big thing to see, especially going forward because, as we all know, Kenny Gainwell, he's in the last year of his contract, and more likely than not, he will not be on the team next year.
Right.
It's a bummer. We'd like to have him here. Hopefully we can get a Super Bowl this year to give him a ring to send him off. But, he's good enough to be maybe a number 1 guy somewhere and get more touches. He's not a guy that's supposed to be behind Saquon Barkley. You know what I mean?
I agree. It's funny. He brings a whole different set of skills, and so
he's had some great plays this year, man.
Yes, he has.
Yeah. And Shipley, I think it was good to see him do the same type of thing that Kenny can do, the catching the passes out of the backfield, the running the route. I think it's really, really good step because, we'll need a new third down back next year.
Yes.
And if Shipley fits that bill while he's on a rookie contract, I mean, you're happy with that.
For sure, definitely. And, he didn't fumble the ball or anything like that. So, I mean, that's what you're looking for. The Giants halftime, they were just trying to knock the ball out just like our defenders were too. But, it's just that kind of game where, it really didn't make a difference one way or the other. But the coolest thing was the Giants were coming in, had lost 11 straight in Philly. Now it's 12.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's incredible. You think about it. They haven't won a game here in Philly since 2012, maybe 11 if I do math
That's
wrong.
crazy.
Then they this is the first year ever, I don't know how it went, that they've lost. They went 0-6 in the division. I remember them saying that.
Wow.
At one point. So I don't know how many years ago that is.
I didn't even think about that.
But that was a stat I heard, and I kind of went, oh, wow, we don't want them breaking that one either, so.
Yep. Good news also, they're going to be keeping, I think they listed today, they're going to be keeping Brian Dable.
And the GM.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
However, I don't know if they solidified their spot as the number 1 pick, did they?
No, they're 3, I believe.
Number 3.
Texans are first.
Oh, I think the Titans.
Titans.
Yeah, the Titans
I never get them right.
I think they got the number 1 pick.
Yeah,
Browns are 2, Giants 3. Yeah. So hopefully they can't get a quarterback there, but they'll probably be able to.
They need about 8 players, so
that's true.
Getting one, if their best bet would be to move down and see what they could do.
It's true. Hopefully Travis Hunter just stays away, though. Ugh.
Yeah, he's a heck of a player.
Okay. Next last good I have listed, even though, like I said, not much things to say that weren't good. But Goddard. Goddard's back from his injury, and we knew we were going to see him out there with the backups, and he got 4 catches for 55 yards. I thought he looked great.
He did.
And he looked like he was playing against, I think you said it, he looked like he was playing against JV players. I mean, it was like one of those, like, it looked like he was varsity playing against JV. Like, he was just so far and above better than everybody else on the field. And, it's just a great reminder that we have, these guys are all coming back healthy. Goddard, Hurts, hopefully,
Right.
AJ, Devontae, they're all back and healthy. Saquon, they're all rested and everything.
Well, that's why we did that. Well,
Exactly.
That's why you don't play him.
And now next week it's great because this is I think the third or fourth game that all of them are healthy together.
Right.
If
Yes,
you put
the whole
Devontae, AJ, and Goddard, they've
Right.
all been kind of out and injured. This will be the third or fourth time they'll be healthy together.
And I don't know if anyone else was watching it, but there was a lot of players on some of these other teams that got injured, and because they had to play them, there was really no situation where they didn't have to. Maybe in Baltimore.
Well, Baltimore didn't have to really play him, and then Zay Flowers got hurt.
He got hurt.
Packers didn't have to play, but it was like you wanted to win. It was at home. It was against division.
Right, lesser of two evils.
If you had won and the Commanders had lost, they would have gone to the 6th seed instead of the 7th seed.
Right,
so,
which meant you would have been playing Tampa Bay instead of playing Eagles.
Instead of the Eagles,
so,
yeah. So there's a thing to it. You're right. But no, I thought the idea to rest Saquon, it was the idea. What am I trying to say? The decision. Thank you. The decision to rest Saquon was the correct decision. We said it on here before the game. We did not want Saquon touching this field. I know it hurts. I know it sucks. We want that record. It's great. It's fun. It's awesome. But if you play and he got hurt, it would have been. I mean, you'd fire Coach. You'd fire Nick. Well, you'd fire Coach Sirianni. I mean, it would be groundbreakingly bad.
All those people that were saying they should have played him would have turned on Nick right away and said, "What are you doing? That was stupid."
That's true.
And we talked about it before. AJ Brown got hurt last year in the last game.
Never forget
in the season. Yeah, and it was just.
And I said they should have played last week. I was wrong. Like last year, I came on here and I said they got to play, and I was wrong. It was
after
stupid.
that, we said it never again.
You never play your starters unless you absolutely have to.
Yes, if it can change get the home field maybe throughout or whatever. But we were locked in at number 2. There was nothing that could happen. So
I do have one thing to throw in the bad section. I know it was a windy day. But Jake Elliott missed another field goal, 39-yarder. This guy could lose us a game in the playoffs, man. This is bad. This is really bad. And like I said, I know this is windy, and he made his other kicks, and it's okay. Maybe it's just that situation, but at home, you missed a field goal at home. I mean, you just
39-yarder. I'm with you. I saw him too, and I'm looking up, going like, man. I know late in the game when it was, we're putting it away. I said, make him kick another one, even though we don't care. Make him kick it, even though you get the first down, the game's over. But make him kick one to get it, and he did. He knocked it right in the middle. So
yeah, I agree. It's just tough though going into the playoffs, man. The scariest thing right now is it's not injuries, it's not defense, it's not offense, it's not kick return, it's not punt return. It's the kicker, field goal kicker. I mean,
and even the kickoffs had a little bit of a weird thing going on.
Well, I'm sure next week Elliott will be back kicking off.
So.
I think they were just taking it easy, but. Yeah, that was bad too. You can't have Braden Mann kicking off. It's official. No, it's impossible.
The first one was great, but the second one was out of bounds. You can't have that.
It's impossible.
And again, I know the wind was blowing 33 miles an hour, so that's a big issue, but still.
Yeah. I got nothing on Jalen Hurts. I'll skip past that. Bottom line, end of the season, 14-3, the 2 seed to end the season, which is great. I think the best thing for us really was, obviously you want to get the number 1 seed locked up, 3-4 weeks ago. Right. But if you can't do that, then a good thing is to get the 2 seed locked up. You rest your starters, and then you let Minnesota and Lions the other night beat the hell out of each other.
Right.
Break each other's confidence, whatever. The Lions ended up walking away, destroying him. So destroy the Vikings' confidence at least, maybe. But the Vikings, that could be a team we see in the second round. If we beat the Packers and
the Vikings
well, if we beat the Packers and the Vikings beat the Rams, and then what's the next one? Washington beats if Washington beats Tampa Bay, we see the Vikings. So, I mean, it'd be nice to see the Vikings kind of continue to limp.
On a downward spin.
If you can.
And Goff really didn't look great in that game yesterday either. He was throwing a lot of balls up for grab. I was amazed at how much the defenses on both teams made. I
was blown away.
They got to the quarterbacks continually.
I was stunned by how good the Lions played. The defense, I'm confused, but still, big deal. Very nice thing. We get to host a playoff game against the Green Bay Packers. Not a conference rival, but a team that we kind of hate. Most of our lives have been, with Dallas always being number 1. Packers were always a second, third, fourth most hated
they're in
team.
Their top 5.
I always really, really hated them my entire life. I kind of stopped hating them as much when Aaron Rodgers left, and then last year they beat the Lions in the playoffs.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, the Cowboys in the playoffs. Yes. I was kind of like, okay.
Well, that's the only time we cheer for him. But
exactly. I was kind of like, okay, I don't hate him as much, but I'll turn it back on. I'll start hating him now, that's good. Let's talk about some of the other games around the league. So no injuries really to speak on, so just get right into that. So other games around the league, Saturday games were okay. Ravens blew out the Browns, wasn't really a fun one. But the Bengals-Steelers game, I was surprised how close it was. I really thought the Bengals were going to kill the Steelers.
Me too.
The Steelers to me, and now it's funny, the Steelers have to play the Bengals in the playoffs. But the Steelers, they just looked bad. They didn't look great. Neither team really looked great, but the Steelers, I think they've just been terrible lately.
The Steelers are on a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's really bad.
Next one, the Panthers beat the Falcons. That was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Came down to overtime. Panthers score 44 points.
Yeah.
Bryce Young has one of his better games this season, one of his best games. And Miles Sanders, if you saw him, former Eagle, Miles Sanders, who had a really, really, really bad season, has not really gotten the ball much. Chuba Hubbard kind of took that spot from him. But in this last game, he had 66 yards rushing for a touchdown, and he had three receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown. So, on the season, he only had, before this game, 130 yards rushing, something like that. It's terrible. Like, man, not getting the ball at all.
Yeah.
But, man, he showed up in the last game. I know, Hubbard wasn't playing, but, man, he might have established himself a little spot going forward now. They might have to release him and let someone else grab him. Maybe we get him as a backup.
Well, he knows
he was Saquon's backup in college.
Yeah.
Penn State, baby.
That's true. That's a good move.
Yeah. Let's talk about the next game. The Saints losing to the Buccaneers. Saints were up in that game for a little bit.
Yeah,
but we knew it was all fake.
The 3 underdogs were up. The Cowboys were winning forever in that one game. The Packers were losing to the Bears forever in that game, and then the Saints were winning.
Yeah,
it shook out at the end, but it was really something to watch.
Yeah,
because we were like, who are we going to play? Who are we going to play? And of course, our game was already over, so we knew that.
Yeah,
so.
And of course, that game, famous Mike Evans joins Jerry Rice, only players in NFL history to have 1,000 yards receiving in the first 11 straight seasons.
Yeah,
threw the ball to him in the last play of the game. What'd you think of
that? You know me, it's not. No. I don't like that record, stuff.
Should have been a penalty because he got up and he spiked the ball.
Yeah.
And if you remember, Jalen Hurts against the Falcons, he ran for a first down, spiked the ball, 15-yard penalty. So where's the penalty? I was kind of mad. I was kind of like, where's the penalty?
Yeah.
Kind of annoyed me, but that's all right.
I don't like that, but they do it all the time.
Got him $3 million, so whatever. Yeah. Commanders, they defeat the Dallas Cowboys. Tough one. You kind of want Dallas to win because, they get a worse draft pick.
Right.
But also, at this point, there's really nothing different between the 13th and 15th pick.
They're a 7 and 10.
So at this point, you're like, go ahead and just lose as painfully as you can. And they did. They lost very painfully.
Yeah.
2 seconds left in the game. They caught a touchdown against them.
At home
in Dallas.
Okay.
It's great.
That's good.
No, it's wonderful. It was beautiful.
That means the record this year at home was abysmal.
Yeah, they get 1 or 2 wins at home, maybe. I don't know for sure, but not many at all. Let's skip past a few duds that were kind of boring across the way. Some guys that sat starters, Patriots, Bills.
Yeah,
Broncos, Chiefs. We watched that game. It was good to see for the Denver fans here in Colorado Springs. But the Chiefs, rest their starters.
Boy,
they
rested their entire team.
Yeah.
Oh my
well,
God.
You can tell, but it's funny because I told someone at my work, and I was like, talking about, Carson Wentz, man, a few weeks ago when he was supposed to play possibly against the Steelers.
Right.
We do our pick'ems at work, and I was like, Carson Wentz, he's probably one of the best backups in the league. And she's like, no, he's not. And I'm like, well, no, he is.
Right.
He's won, he's won a lot of games in his career. He's pretty good in his career. I'm not saying he's the best player ever. No,
right.
But he's probably one of the better backups. And then in this game, she's like, oh, no, see, he was terrible. And I'm like, well, no, but him filling in for Mahomes with a starting lineup is different than him playing the entire game with the backup of the line. He was getting crushed the whole game. Yeah. Let me pull up how many sacks he got.
I don't even know how many wide receivers he had out there, who was even playing.
Yeah, he got sacked 4 times, 10 for 17 for 98 yards. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't do anything. They were terrible. Next game, going to be the Niners-Cardinals. We don't like to really root for the Cardinals, but we always like to root against the Niners. So it was nice for their season to kind of just get broken at the end, 47-24. Good to see him just get annihilated.
Yeah.
Run him through the dirt. It's great.
Right.
I love it. I'm good with that. Seahawks beat the Rams. Not too surprising. The Rams were sitting their starters.
Yeah.
Very smart. They did drop a seed in that, so they do it to face the Vikings at home instead of playing the Commanders at home. So maybe it wasn't the best idea, but
wait, they get the home game against the Vikings.
Correct.
Yes,
the Rams get the home game against the Vikings.
Yes.
So because they lost and the Buccaneers won, the Rams did drop in the seeding to 4th seed. So maybe you would have wanted to win so that you could so that you could play against the Washington Commanders instead of the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, you're at home, and now you've just rested your starters, whereas the other two teams had to play until the end of the game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then let's talk about the Vikings-Lions. We kind of mentioned that. Thought it would be a better game. It was for a while. It was a tight game, and then the Lions just exploded. Inevitable. They're a scary team. I mean, it's official. I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, they're not good. We're not afraid of them. No. They're a very scary team. Yeah. I'm going to say that. Yeah.
And the Vikings defense played great against them early, but then Jahmyr Gibbs just took it over.
Yeah. And then what ended up being the most important game for us to watch, the Bears and Packers. So the Bears were up the whole time, and then the Packers kind of came back towards the end and then took the lead. And it was like, oh my gosh, now we're gonna they're gonna have momentum.
Right.
And then the Bears went down, kick a field goal to win it in Lambeau. Tough game for the Packers. They went in with their starters trying to win.
Yep.
Christian Watson, he's out for the season with a knee injury.
Yep.
And then Jordan Love, he got knocked out of the game early with an elbow arm injury.
Right.
I don't think anything that really will affect him going forward. But still, it was good for us to see, not the injury part, but it was good for us to see them lose in kind of that heartbreaking fashion.
Right.
You want a team going into the playoffs, when you're playing against them, you want them going into the team in the playoffs going, at home. Now they got to travel to Philly. We're on a week's rest. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. I think that was kind of the best situation for us in this playoff scenario.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it should be. I love it.
Would you have rather play the Commanders or the Packers?
I'd rather play the Packers.
Really?
Yeah, although, man, I'll tell you, I didn't really focus much on that Commanders game, but Jaden Daniels looked awful in that first half.
Yeah.
He was like 2 of 10 or something.
Yeah, I thought he had a really tough
really
time.
bad. So I think they pulled him at one point.
They did. He ended up going 6 of 12 for only 38 passing yards, and then Mariota came in and went 15 of 18 for 161 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 56 rushing yards.
That was odd.
And 1 rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
Mariota played unbelievable.
Well, Mariota had like a 50-yard run too.
33-yarder.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah. He looked really good. It's kind of annoying. Yeah. He was terrible for us last year, but. Well, he didn't really. I mean, last year, he didn't really play last year, I should say. But still, we'd expect more of him from a guy we paid a lot of money.
Yes.
All right. Anything else you got to say?
Not really. Nope. Just
see, it's funny because I'm the opposite. I would rather play the Commanders.
I know you do.
However, the way that it shook out, I think, is the best way possible.
Yeah.
Because if the pardon me, if the Commanders won like that in Dallas. On the road, they won in the last few seconds. You don't want to play that. You don't want to play those guys because they're now motivated and happy. I think the Packers are the better team, but I think when you go into the playoffs and you're kicking yourself in the butt going, I can't believe we lost. And now we just lost our wide receiver and our quarterback got hurt. Oh, my gosh.
Washington's been playing with house money all year. They've had so many lucky bounces, if you will, things like that. So, even in our game, they had 4 or 5 turnovers and the ball bounced their way every time, so.
Well, we got 5 turnovers against them.
Yeah, but we didn't get them. We
took them all? You're thinking Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah, Baltimore, they fumbled 4 times and we didn't recover it once. No, Washington, we got 5 turnovers and still
I just
lost.
Look at that Chicago game. Some of the games early on when
I agree.
They really just grew in confidence from that. Jaden Daniels, at times we can shut him down, but then he'll get that big 30-yard run and, you're like,
that's what he can do.
Like playing the old games.
It's like Vic. It's just like kind of like it's like Lamar, It's just okay. We got him 3rd and 12, and he got away. Was no one watching him? It's funny. Well, let's go ahead and say our byes. We'll be coming back to record later this week. We knew this would be a short episode because there's not really too much to talk about, but we'll be coming back at you later this week to do a Packers-Eagles preview for the first Eagles playoff game of the season. Yes, I'm saying first because there will be more than one. I'm saying that now. But we'll hope to see you later this week and hope you're all listening, having a good time, and having a great Happy New Year. And even more importantly, happy playoff season. This is my favorite time of the year. I've always said, even in the years the Eagles aren't in the playoffs, I love the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just different. One game on at a time. There's no, which game should we watch?
Right.
No, it's one and it's good. Sometimes they're bad, but they're usually always good.
And this year we have 5 days. You have the Penn State game coming up.
Yes, of course. I should have mentioned
the Friday night game, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So there's 5 straight days.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. I forgot to mention that Thursday. Penn State going to be playing against Notre Dame. It's at the Orange Bowl. Where does that take place at? I can't remember. It's Florida, right? Yeah. Okay. Miami Gardens, the Hard Rock Stadium on ESPN, 5:30. That's perfect. I think I'm off on Thursday, so I'll be off all day to get ready for it. Nice. So that's going to be a lot of fun. and hopefully we can see Ohio State beat Texas. That way we can beat Ohio State in the championship to avenge our season. But all right, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. If you like our Eagles Therapy podcast, do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. You can email us your questions at oureaglestherapy@gmail.com. You can also comment down below on the YouTube page and let us know what your predictions are for the game, what your predictions are for the season. But we hope to talk to you soon and read your comments on here. But other than that, from all of us here at Our Eagles Therapy Podcast, I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles, fly.